Catholic Mom Talks. Happy New Year's, everybody. I can't believe we're entering into 2025, right? And I just thank God that we've all made it this far, right? We're all alive and we're doing pretty good, right? Well, I'm very grateful to God for all the beautiful blessings and gifts He's given to me in my life. And as I get older, I feel such a need to be present to the people that I really love in my family, right? Because there's no guarantees in life, right? And as you get older, you kind of experience that when you lose your loved ones, right? Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about today, just about getting rid of the old stuff, right? And renewing our hearts this new year, this year 2025. And there's a prayer that I always say to the Lord, and I ask the Lord to please heal my hidden unknown self, all those things in me that are not pleasing to Him. And I ask Him, Lord, show me those things, right? So tonight I was pondering a little bit the idea of how you cannot be a Christian or in a relationship with Jesus if you follow these things, or these certain things that I was pondering. One of them is if you follow the dictates of the culture, okay? You cannot be a disciple of Christ if you are a disciple of the world, okay? You can't march to two different drummers, right? You have to be guided by one, right? And that has to be Christ, which is the truth. So the cultural norms, which are things that are acceptable in the culture, are not necessarily acceptable to Christ, okay? So we have to walk to a different drummer. We can't really be in a relationship with Christ if we choose to follow the culture, okay? That also means that we can't also celebrate things that are not of God, right? We can't celebrate or promote murder, for example. We cannot truly be a Christian or follow Christ and celebrate the idea of abortion. We cannot. This is something that is totally against Christ and His will. He wills life, right? He wills life, no matter the circumstances. There's in Catholicism, there is a understanding that you cannot perform an evil action to have a good come out of it. So in other words, if a pregnancy is inconvenient for you, or something that you don't particularly want in your life, you can't commit a heinous crime or murder in order for you to have a comfortable life. Okay, that is no good, no good can come from that. It is called intrinsic evil. It's an intrinsic evil. Okay, now the Lord can forgive anything. Now, mind you, that's another talk. In the sacrament of reconciliation, He can forgive anything. But for the most part, as a Christian, as a Catholic, we cannot believe in abortion. We cannot. Okay, another thing we cannot believe in is we cannot believe in the idea of self-hatred. We have to love ourselves. Okay, we have to love ourselves because we are made in the image and likeness of God. Okay, so we are very valuable. And that includes our weaknesses and our faults. We have to forgive ourselves, make peace with God, and move on, right? We cannot bear false witness against our neighbor and be a Christian. Okay, that goes for anything that says, well, for example, maybe we don't know anything about a certain particular religion, but we claim we do. And we attest to that as being a truth when we don't really know if it's the truth. Okay, maybe we say, well, this particular religion does this, or they do that, or that's bearing false witness against your neighbor. Unless you know, you can't claim someone's doing something if they are not, right? That would be like some other Christian faiths might claim that Catholics worship Mary, which is not true, right? They're bearing false witness against their neighbor. They don't know anything about Catholicism, so they're trying to teach something that is not true. You see this a lot in a lot of Protestant communities, especially among Protestant ministers, they teach false teachings about Catholicism because they don't understand Catholicism. There's it's teaching something that they are not educated in. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. But anyway, I'm not bashing anybody else. I'm just saying that a lot of times people will bear false witness against their neighbor, claiming that something is true when it is not true. Catholics do not worship Mary. They do not idolize statues. Okay, statues are not idols in Catholicism. They're pictures, they're artworks. I don't know if that makes sense, right? It would be like saying that everybody worships the Statue of Liberty, right? We all know that's not true, right? It's a symbol of our freedom, right? Well, so too we have the statues of the saints as reminders of the people that were in love with God, right? We do not worship the statue. It's not a golden calf or an idol. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Well, we can't bear false witness against your neighbor and say, oh yeah, the Catholics, they all do this, right? Or we can say that about another religion. They all do this or they all do that. If we don't know, right, we can't bear false witness against our neighbor. We can't be prideful, right? Prideful, thinking that we are better than other people. We can't judge people on appearance, right? We can't be critical of other people's appearances. We cannot be a Christian and do these things, right? We cannot be Christian and be in a relationship with Christ if we are gossiping about our neighbor, if we're crucifying our neighbor with our tongue. Okay, we cannot be a Christian if we do these things, right? I mean, and I know a lot of us are Christians, right? And a lot of us have a lot of these faults, right? And these failings and these imperfections in our heart, right? But we need Jesus then, right? We need him to fix those spots that are not healed, right? And that's why he's the refiner. He refines us like pure gold, right? But it's very important that we see these things, right? We can't be Christian if we are not in a right relationship with Christ. And being in a right relationship with Christ means doing the will of God, right? We can't live in a relationship with Jesus and have infidelity to God's law. We cannot. We cannot be a Christian and not obey God's law, right? These are some food for thought, right? And it's not that the law is meant to enslave us. It is that God is protecting us from being enslaved by our choices. He's protecting us from the world, right? He's keeping us with him. He's keeping us safe, right? These are my thoughts for tonight, right? Going into our heart, rooting out those things that are not of God. Giving them to Jesus, either going for the Catholic to go to the sacrament of reconciliation, make peace with Jesus, right? Work on these things. And then, a lot of times I think what it is that we need to know why we are doing what we are doing, right? And what is the root cause for why we're doing what we're doing. Usually for me, it's usually I'm afraid of something, right? And I have a wound that I'm not looking at, okay, in my heart. And it's motivating me. It's driving me, right? It's driving me. So we need to look, self-hatred's a huge one. Self-hatred will cause you to do all kinds of things that are not God's will. It kind of goes hand in hand with pride, right? You might starve yourself so that you'll look beautiful, right? For your vanity. Okay, these are things that we need to look at. Why are we doing this? What is the root for why we're doing it, right? We need to ask the Lord, show me Jesus. Transform me, Jesus. Make me whole, Jesus. Don't let me be driven by my wounds anymore, right? Let me be in a right relationship with you. Let me truly love you, right? We can't be prejudiced. We can't think we're superior or above other people, right? We cannot do that and be a Christian. So this is food for thought, right? It's the new year. We're moving into the new year. And, it's important that we see these things, because if we don't, we stay stuck, okay? We can't move or progress spiritually with Jesus, right? We can't reach freedom or joy or peace, right? If we stay stuck. So these are my thoughts for tonight. I hope you all have a very blessed night, a very blessed new year, and I hope the Lord just showers you all with abundant blessings. Thanks so much for listening. God bless everybody.